Good day guys, and welcome to this channel. If this is your first time on this channel, then hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you get notified whenever I post content on this channel. I do contents majorly on KDP and publishing generally. If you're already a subscriber, then welcome back. Today I'll be doing a quick one on how to format your book using MS Word. Now, this is not a full video on MS Word, which means I won't be covering every function of MS Word, or let me say every functionality or every feature of MS Word. I'll just be covering the ones I use personally when doing my book formatting and the one you will need for your book formatting. Now, first of all, let's assume you already have your content, you check plagiarism, you paraphrase them, and you now have it on your MS Word. The first thing I would like you to do is to check your page layout. So you just come here, you click on page layout, and you click on size, then you select your page. Now we have 8.5 by 11, depending on the page you use. Personally, I use 6 by 9, and we don't have 6 by 9 here. So what you do is you click on more paper sizes, and you custom your size, and you put 6 here and 9 here, like it's already done. Now the reason I like 6.9, it's because it kind of make your work, should I say, give you more number of pages here. If I just change this to 8 by 11, you see that this 206 pages here will drop drastically. Now I like 6.9 also because it's a smaller paper size, and if you buy the Kindle version of this book, then 6.9 it's a very good option. So I now click on OK. Now the second thing here I do is to put my page number. Now you can put your page number in any time, but I like doing it early so that I won't forget. So you click on insert here, and you click on page number. You scroll down to bottom of page, and we have a lot of styles here. There is this one that is by the left, this one is in the middle, this one is by the right. Then there's this one, we'll have page 1, page 1, page 1 of 1, and like that. Now I just like going with something simple, so I go with this plain number 2 here. So I click on it, then you click on close header and footer. Now you can see this thing is numbered right here. So now let's go to the formatting properly. Now the first page I do is the title page, then I do the copyright page, then I do the table of contents, then the introduction, then I start my chapter 1. But as you can see, this is already on chapter 1, so let me quickly do those pages, those previous pages, or let me see the preliminary pages before the main book. So now I bring my cursor to this chapter 1 right here, then I'll click on insert and page break. So what this does is takes this content to the next page and leave this page blank. So this page is done blank. So this is the page I will do the introduction for my book. Introduction. Now introduction is not compulsory. You can just, after your table of contents, you can just go straight to your book. But I like doing introduction because introduction kind of tells people more about your book, and I use it also as a marketing strategy. Now Amazon, if you're uploading a book on Amazon, Amazon has a look inside feature. If your buyer should click inside the look inside feature, he sees the first pages of your book. Now when you have an introduction, he will first see the introduction. An introduction follows a format that tells people more about your book and what they'll get to learn when they buy the book. So I don't just like people clicking on the look inside and then seeing my chapter 1, because when you see the chapter 1, you're already seeing the content of the book, and people can just say, okay, this is chapter 1 and I don't like it. So I like to give them that suspense of not knowing what is in the book. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me go to another book because I have an introduction for this book. Let me go to the previous book here. This is a book about car maintenance. Now look at the introduction. If you are reading this, chances are you have experienced some sort of problem with your vehicle and are looking for answers. Maybe your car is making strange noises, or maybe it's running as smoothly as it used to. Whatever the issue may be, this book is here to help. Now when you click on the look inside, this is what you see, and if the introduction is long enough, the person will just read part of it or all of the introduction and might not even look at the chapter 1. But now this is telling the person more about the book and kind of triggering the call to action, which is to click on the buy now button and stuff. Now let's see how this ends. So whatever you're dealing with, so whether you're dealing with a car problem or just want to know more about your vehicle, this book has something for you. We hope that by the end you will feel empowered to take control of your car issues and feel confident in your ability to fix them. Let's get started. Now you can also do something like this in your book description. I will do another video on how to come up with a good book description, but now I also do it in my introduction because I don't like them just going straight to chapter 1 and getting to see the content of the book. So the introduction is more like an appetizer, and yeah, it's more like an appetizer for them to know what the book is still about before going straight to the book itself. So I don't have an introduction for this book, but I'll just leave this space here so that you put it in yours. Then I'll click on page break again. Now introduction is here. Now the other page is before introduction. We have the copyright, no, the table of contents rather. So I just come here to my book and type table, okay, caps lock, capital letter, table of contents. Now you can come back to home and play around with this table of contents. I like making it bold. It's already bold, but if it's not bold, it should be like this. So you just highlight it, you click on bold, or you use Ctrl B and you get a bold. You get it bold like this. Then since it's a heading, you can make it 16 instead of the number 14 because the content here is 14. But since it's a heading, you can make it 16. You can make this 16 and stuff, but I'll just keep it at 14. I don't like it too big, so I'll keep it at 14. Now after my table of contents, the next page, remember, you go back to your insert here and you page break. Now the table of content is here, and the next page, or the page before rather, before the table of content, is the copyright page. Now I keep my copyright simple. Just copy this here. Let me go back to my book here and I paste it. Now I'll just bring it down a little because I want it to be centralized. I want to centralize. Now I'll just edit this name. For this book, I'm not using this because I copied this from the previous book. So let me say the author name here is John Paul. Let me say the author here is John Paul. Copyright John Paul 2023. All rights reserved. No part of this publication will be reproduced, distributed, or transmitted in any form by any means, including photocopying, recording, or other electrical or mechanical methods, and like that. So now after my page break, or after my copyright page, then this, okay, the first page here is going to be my title page. Now I follow this order. Title page, I don't have the name of this book right. Let me just write skincare because it's a book about skincare. So let me write skincare for beginners. Yep. Let me just come up with something random. Skincare for beginners. Then I can say the subtitle will be a complete guide or something. A complete guide to having a glowing, I don't know if that even makes sense, of having a glowing skin. Yeah, let me just leave that. Sorry, glowing. Now I'm going to record another video too on how to come up with a good subtitle and title for your book, so make sure you subscribe to this channel and stay tuned for that. Now because this is the title page, I would like to make this bold, so I highlight and click on bold, and let me use font size 26. Then let me come here and centralize it. Now you can also increase the spacing. Oh, beginners, I didn't spell it correctly. I don't know if it's here. So you can also highlight this and come to this here, spacing, and increase the spacing to 1.5 or so. It's a choice. Now this is the subtitle, so I'll highlight the subtitle. Let me make it italics. Yep, I'll centralize it too, and let me put it at 16, font size 16 or 18 here. It's not bad. Font size 18 is okay. Then I'll come, sorry, now if you have a mistake, if you do a mistake, I just click Ctrl C and undo. Now then I'll come down here to the bottom of this page and write John Paul as the author name. Now I don't like this to be in italics, so I highlight and click this, remove it on italics, or you can use Ctrl I. I don't like it to be italicized, so I'll just highlight it and I'll remove this here. I'll make it bold. I can also change the font from Times New Roman to, let me say, Arial Black. Yeah, because for your book, the standard font is Times New Roman, and then font size 14. Oh, this has moved to the next page, so I'll just click here and hit the backspace on my keyboard and bring it back to this page. So here we go. Our first page is a title page, then the copyright page, then the table of contents. I'll add this table of contents later. Then the introduction. Now there's no introduction. Let's assume you have yours, and then you just type it up randomly. If you don't have, then you just go straight from table of contents to your chapter 1. Now this is my book. Now one thing I like doing is I like writing my chapters and what the chapter is about. So instead of writing chapter 1, I write chapter 1 and give it a title. Now the reason I do that is because when people click on the looking side and decide to look at your table of contents, they don't just see chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. No, it's not professional, so it's better they say chapter 1, introduction to skincare, so they know exactly what they are paying for. Then chapter 2, building a skincare routine. Then let me scroll down, chapter 3, okay, chapter 2 is bulky, so let me scroll down to chapter 3. Chapter 3 should be, oh, I think I've passed chapter 3. Chapter 4 rather, targeted skincare solution. I'll pass chapter 3 somewhere up, but the bottom line is don't just write chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. Give it a title, let them know what they are paying for. So now let me come here to chapter 1. One other thing I like doing is I like putting each chapter on the right hand side of my page of my book, which means if I'm designing my book cover and I tell it the left to right, I select the format of the paperback left to right, which is the standard one I use. Then all chapters of my book start on the right hand side. Now this is not compulsory, but I like starting my chapters on the right hand side. I don't know why it's like that. Now it's not compulsory. You can start your chapters anywhere on the left or on the right, but I like leaving a blank page at the end of each chapter. I like leaving a blank page at the end of each chapter before starting a new chapter, which makes it possible for me to start each chapter on the right hand side. It can be on the left hand side. Once again, it's not compulsory, but make sure you start each chapter on a new page. Don't write chapter 1, chapter 2 on the same page. Okay, sorry, each chapter on a fresh page rather. So now, introduction to skincare. What I'll do is I'll come here to insert and then click on page break. Now this is what I'm talking about. After my introduction, let's assume my introduction ends here. Let me just grab a random stuff and put on its introduction so that it won't be blank. So let's say this is the introduction of my book. Ctrl V, I'll paste that there. Come back home. Now if you notice, you can see that this is displaying 2 pages. Now you can adjust that, you can make it just 1 page, but I like working on 2 pages because it makes my work faster. Now this is the radar down here. If we drag this backward, you can see this is how over, I don't know, this is up to 20 pages. Let me say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 pages. So the more you adjust it, the more it's bring out. If you can work with 4 pages, it's cool. If you can work with 1 page, you just bring it here to 1 page, you drag it here, or you just use this plus to 1 page. But I like working on 2 pages. It's the best for me, so that you can just see everything I'm doing with 1 glance. So this is my introduction. Then let's assume it stop here. Then I'll start my, okay, hit the backspace. I'll start my chapter 1 here. Now I left this page blank. I started my chapter 1 here. That's how I do it. Once again, you can start your own chapter 1 here. It's not compulsory that I leave a blank space, but I like doing it here. So now if you're publishing on Amazon, you know that Amazon don't just accept any table of content. They accept a table of content that is a clickable table of content, which means, let me use this book for instance. This is a table of contents for this book, which means if I should click on the control button and click on chapter 2 here, it will take me straight to the chapter 2 of this book. Now if I should click the control button and click on chapter 9, it takes me straight to the chapter 9 of this book. As you can see, I left the page here. I told you that's how I do it. Now this is the table of contents Amazon accepts. So I'm going to teach you how to use a clickable table of contents on MS Word. Now also remember, don't forget title page, then copyright page, then table of contents, then introduction. Now introduction is going to be on your table of contents, so I'm going to arrange it. I'll arrange everything shortly, so just stay tuned. Now one thing I also want you to take note of is the spacing. Now you can highlight this, and when you click here, you see this icon here, line spacing. You see that my spacing is 1.5, 1.15. You can play around it. You can use 1.0, but that's too small for me. You can use 1.5, which is too large for me. So 1.15 is just a standard one I use. So that's how to increase and reduce your spacing. Now this is introduction. Introduction is a heading. So what I do is I highlight this. Then now take note of what I'm doing here and pay very close attention to it. So I highlight introduction here, and I come to heading 1, and I right click on heading 1, and I select this option, modify. Now let me do this again. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want every heading to be in one group. And that's the first step in inserting your clickable table of content. So once again, I'll highlight this introduction. I'll come to this heading 1 here, right click on it, click on modify. Now I'll change this color here to black because I don't want my headings to be in blue color. You can use any color of your choice, but I like black, and I want them to be bold. Then my font size, Arial Black. Yeah, Arial Black is cool, it's thick enough, but you can use something different. You can use Times New Roman, or you can use this Calibri body here, or Calibri heading. Now any of them, but I like Arial Black. How is that cool? No, that's not too cool. It's too thick for me. So let me use this Cambria headings here. Yeah, this one here. You can decide to centralize it so that it will be in the middle, but I don't like centralizing it, so I'll keep it here where it is. Now this centralize, if you click here, it will take you to the right side of the page. If you click this, it will be like this. So let's use the first one. I like the first one. Now bold, you can choose to underline your headings, but I don't think that's necessary. I don't do it. You can choose to italize it, but I don't italize it. I only italize subheadings, and I'll be showing you how to do that shortly. Now this one here is your spacing, the space from the heading to the right up. So now I just click on it and adjust it. So what I'll do is I'll click Ctrl Z twice and take it back to how it should be. Now let me start this process once again. I'll click on introduction, right click on modify, change this thing here to black. Okay, I will leave it on Cambria headings, make it bold. I can increase the font size to 16 since it's a heading. Now I don't touch any other thing here. Then I'll click on automatically updates. Now automatically updates because anything I highlight and click on heading 1 will automatically take these functions, will automatically use these functions. Now if I should highlight anything here and click heading 1, you see that it will automatically change to every setting I've done here. Now let me click on OK here. Now this is my first heading. As you can see, if I highlight this now, sorry, if I click on this now, is if I should click on this, if I highlight this now, sorry, highlight this heading 1. Now I've already modified every setting I want. So once I highlight this and click on heading 1, you can see that it's automatically changed. Let me undo it so that you see what I'm talking about. Look at how this is now. If I highlight it and click on heading 1, it automatically take the settings that I've done for heading 1. So I'll give it some space by hitting the space bar. So that's my first heading. Then I'll come to chapter 1, highlight chapter 1, click on heading 1 2. So it's going to change to heading 1. Then I'll go down. Now this is a subheading here. Let me move to the next page. Understanding your skin type. Now this is a subheading. Make sure you give space between the subheading and your write-up. So now what I do for subheadings is I make it heading 2. Remember the first one was heading 1, this one is heading 2. So I'll highlight this here come to heading 2, right click, modify. I'll make this black. Now this is subheading, so I would like to make it in italics. Yeah, I'll make it bold. Let me make this 14. Oh sorry, that was 12. Let me make this 14. Then automatically update, then okay. So now I'll highlight this and click on heading 2. So you can see it has taken all the settings, it has changed the settings on heading 2. Now it was bold. Yeah, so I'll go down. Okay, dry skin, this is also a subheading, so highlight this and click on heading 2. Okay, now using subheadings are optional because everything you put on heading 1 and heading 2 is going to appear in your table of contents. Now if you feel the subheadings are too much, you can just neglect it and use only your headings. Personally, I don't use subheadings always. Most times I just use the main heading, which is the chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. But subheading can help you give a detailed information on what the person gets. So now when the person clicks the table of contents, he will see the headings in their book and the subheadings in that book. So now you understand, everything will make sense shortly. Everything will make sense shortly. I know you're confused right now, but just stay with me. So now this is another subheading, so I'll give it some space here, and I'll make this heading 2. Now yeah, let me move to the next page. Now I advise you don't rush your book formatting too, because how neat and presentable your book looks will give you an edge in the market, and it can also give you a good review. Now imagine someone buys your book and just sees it scattered and stuff. That person might go back to Amazon and give you a bad review, and that bad review will definitely affect what a new buyer, the perception of a new buyer. Now they might still buy, but there are chances that they might not buy because everybody like a neatly formatted book. Now this is another subheading. Now this is what I was talking about. These subheadings are getting a lot here, and because they are much, they'll make my table of contents bulky. So sometimes I don't use it. I just use my headings and no subheadings. So this is chapter 2. Now I'll highlight chapter 2 and click on heading 1. Remember, your chapters are heading 1, then your sub chapters are heading 2. So I'm not going to use any sub chapter, I'm not going to use any subheading again. I'll just use the main headings. So let me go down to chapter 3. Now make sure you give spaces for every subheading. Give a space. I'm trying to keep this video short so we don't stay here forever. Now this is benefits of SPF, so give a space for every subheading. Now you might decide to make it bold and italize it, so that someone will know that it's a subheading. So you just highlight on any subheading like this here, then you click on bold here. You just highlight this, you left click and you drag highlight, so you click on bold and italics. You can use the shortcut by doing Ctrl B for bold and Ctrl I for italics. Now I like using the shortcut because it's faster for me. So now you can decide to highlight this and italize it without giving it a heading. Now if you give it a heading, it's going to appear in your table of contents, but if you don't give it a heading, it's not going to appear in your table of contents. So sometimes I just highlight this and make it bold, then I upload it. I highlight it and make it bold, but I don't give it a heading. So now when I do my table of contents, it's not going to appear there and it's not going to be too bulky. So that's it. Now chapter 3, I'll highlight this and click on heading 1. Now this book has, Ctrl Z. Remember, any mistake you make, just hit the Ctrl Z and you undo. So this book has 10 chapters. Yeah, it has 10 chapters. That's chapter 3. So I'll go down. Remember to space your headings, don't choke everything. At some point, give you some space. Now this space here is too much. You click here and you hit this backspace button. Make sure you take your time and space this. Now when you generate content, sometimes it's kind of scattered and everything. So after paraphrasing and checking your grammar, this is where you do your formatting and give it a lot of space. give it space so that don't suffocate it. Give it space, yep, so that it will look neat. Now chapter 4, you highlight and you click on heading 1. So now let me stop here because I don't want this video to get any longer. It's already on 25 minutes. So now you come to your table of contents here. Now you click on your table of contents, you give space. Now this is how to insert your table of contents. Click on reference, then come to this table of contents here, click on it. Now scroll down to insert table of contents, insert table of contents, then click OK. Now what this does is it automatically picks the headings. So everything you routed, or let me say everything you link to heading 1 will come as heading, everything you link to heading 2 will come as a subheading. Now let me repeat this process again. Click on reference, it's normally on home here, so you click on reference, you come to table of contents and you scroll down to insert table of contents, then you click OK. Now look at this, your introduction here, because remember I linked introduction to chapter to heading 1. Now one way to know if it's linked is you just click on it. Now as you can see, once I click on introduction, this should I say orange box here moved to heading 1. If I click on the body of the book, let me see just the content, it's here on normal or it doesn't show at all. Now when you click on this, it takes you to heading 1 and you know that okay, this one is linked to heading 1. So everything that was linked to heading 1 came as a heading. Chapter 1 came as a heading. Now look at the subheading I was talking about. You remember understanding your skin type, normal skin, dry skin, oily skin. I did that as a subheading and it was under heading 2. So this is exactly how it's going to display. It's showing under this, as you can see. Then chapter 2, then chapter 3. I remember at chapter 2 I didn't do any subheading, so there's no subheading under chapter 2, there's no subheading under chapter 3, there's no subheading under chapter 4. So you can choose to highlight this here and give it some space. If it's too congested for you, you can make it 1.5. yeah, I think this is bold enough. Then you can choose to highlight this introduction here. You click on it and highlight introduction, you make it bold, that's if you want to. Then this is also a heading, you can highlight this and make it, highlight this here and make it bold, yeah, because it's a heading. Then you leave the subheadings like that, then you come to your chapter 2, you highlight this also and make it bold. Yep, so you can see chapter 3, 4. Okay, let me do it on chapter 2. I left chapter 2 out, so you highlight your chapter 2 also. Now when you click on it, the whole table of content is going to highlight, but make sure you highlight, you left click and you highlight the one you need, then you make it bold. So this is how you upload your clickable table of contents. Now if you come to anything here, let me say I come to this chapter 1 and I press Ctrl and click on it, it's gonna load and take me into chapter 1. Now if I come to this subheading here, let me say this combination skin, I click on Ctrl and click, it's gonna take me into this subtopic. So this is how you upload a clickable table of content using MS Word. Every other thing here is straightforward, just go through it and highlight. Now remember the ones I highlighted and I didn't link to a table of contents, they are still, sorry, the ones I highlighted and I didn't link to a heading, they are still highlighted and bold italics. They are still subheadings. If people are reading, they will know that okay, this is a subheading, but they are not under the table of content. The reason I didn't include them is it gets too bulky. Now if you have a book that has a lot of subheadings, then I'll advise you just consider adding some, the important ones, or you don't add at all, you just add only the chapters and you leave the subheadings, because sometimes when you want to add everything, you end up seeing a table of content of 2-3 pages. Now there's nothing wrong with that, but for me I feel it's too much. 1 page or 2 pages for a table of content, it's very okay. So that's how you do your book formatting on MS Word. Now if you have any question or anything that you feel I didn't cover in this video, drop it in the description of this video. I'll reply to every comment. And don't forget to like this video, share with your friends, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you will get updated whenever I post the next video. Thank you and see you in my next video.